What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cash Money MMA. Today I'll be discussing a lot of the media drama surrounding MMA Guru. If you guys are not familiar with MMA Guru, he's one of the biggest YouTubers in the space right now and making a lot of different content. And basically, he's known to be a pretty big troll. So he likes to make a lot of jokes about everybody. It's either a type of guy that you either love or you hate. And, a lot of people have mixed feelings about him. He's recently stirring up controversy because he made a tweet about a woman during the UFC 307 press conference. He said, honestly, so disrespectful of the UFC cameraman at UFC 307 press conference to be like, nah, you got to see this in the middle of her question. Honestly, pathetic behavior and not funny, ... So obviously he's being a troll here, making a joke about her weight. MMA Guru, he's kind of an overweight guy himself, so he feels like it's okay to make jokes about other fat people as well. Now, I've seen him make jokes about John Morgan. I believe he's made jokes about the Brazilian fellow who likes to ask Alex Pereira questions at the press conference. He calls him an ogre and things like that. Now, my whole issue with this is I don't have a problem with MMA Guru saying, it is what it is. He's just making a joke about somebody. But then I'm seeing a lot of people get outraged because this woman actually does react to his tweet. And she says, and this is why I prefer to remain behind the camera. And in 10 plus years of covering the UFC, don't speak at press conferences. Don't forget that everyone deserves respect, even people you don't find it attractive. So obviously, she definitely took some sort of way about what MMA Guru said. Rightfully so. She does have a right to respond to what he did say, and it was disrespectful. But my whole thing is, I see a lot of fighters in the comments, trying to show support, calling out MMA Guru for what he said, and things like that. I've also seen people like Nina Drama, who we'll get to in a moment. Basically, MMA Guru is getting a lot of hate for fat shaming that woman. Now, I've never seen a lot of people come out to the defense of a lot of the other people he's made fun of, especially some of the fat people, because in today's society, we believe that it's okay to fat shame men, and you can't do that to women, even though there's quote-unquote equality among the genders. Apparently, when anything happens to men, whether it's like, let's say a man gets injured or things like that, it's okay to laugh because that's a man. And it's okay to make fun of him because he's a man. Not thinking of a man's feelings or things like that. And honestly, if you're in the MMA space, Amy, you should be okay. I'm not saying you should be okay with it, but at the same time, you should kind of let that stuff slide because at the end of the day, you're in a sport that's very brutal. People are getting hit in the head. These fighters get shitted on when they don't hit people's parlay and things like that. It is what it is. It's the internet. You should learn that Twitter is not the nicest place. A lot of people will give you their honest opinions about you, whether it's good or bad. And we as people judge people on their appearance. So Guru is just letting these thoughts out. It's either you like it or you hate it. Like I said, with Guru's commentary, a lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it, especially his fans. So she went on and she made that comment. But then I noticed Nina Drama, who's a woman who does a lot of silly little interviews with TikToks with fighters and things like that. A lot of people call her an industry plant because, honestly, she doesn't have much of a talent whatsoever. She kind of just leeches off of someone like Sean Strickland and things like that just to get her views up. And then she likes to always, try to, just farm a following by making stupid little questions with MMA fighters. Now, she made a comment to MMA Guru, this long paragraph. She took the time to make this comment about MMA Guru only because she's using it as an opportunity to attack him for things that he said. If you see in her comment defending Amy, she says, I've been keeping my mouth shut about this cloud chasing vermin since I started in the UFC, and he hasn't been able to keep my name out of his mouth. Now, MMA Guru calls her out, for doing inappropriate things for views, showing off her body and things like that. But what I have noticed is that she's being a big hypocrite because she does interviews with Sean Strickland, and her best friend in the MMA space is Sean Strickland. And as we all know, Sean Strickland is one of the most disrespectful guys in the space. He's very disrespectful to not just only other fighters, but people in general. But she finds it absolutely hilarious and never calls out any of his disgusting or vile behavior or calls him a troll or things like that. And what I've noticed is there was an interview that she did with Sean Strickland back in the day. And basically, she asked him about fat shaming. So let's hear what they had to say.
All right, next question. Do you believe fat shaming is okay if the person you're fat shaming is someone you love?
I think fat shaming is always okay. There's nothing worse than being next to a fat, smelly motherfucker. And the most human thing you could do is telling a fat, smelly motherfucker to put down the fork. You know, if you can't see your fucking, you're a little bit too fat. If you got to lift up a roll.
Now, throughout this interview, she doesn't make one comment against Sean Strickland or tell him that's inappropriate. She purposely asked this question just so he can roast fat people and make fun of fat people in general. But I don't see her going into this huge paragraph or going on the defense when he makes any of these type of comments. She actually encourages it by laughing, by engaging with it, and asking him these particular questions so that she can get this exact response from him. So I just feel like at the end of the day, it's either you're going to be a hypocrite and call out and not try to call out this, or you're going to just sit back and let him say whatever he wants. And she likes to sit back and actually enjoy interviewing him when he makes his disgusting comments. And this is not only even about Sean Strickland. She does this with any other fighter who's made controversial statements in the past or done controversial things, such as John Jones. She calls him one of his favorite people in the earth, knowing that he has a history of domestic violence and things like that. So if everybody wants to be on their moral high horse when it comes to MMA Guru, at least be consistent in who you hang out with and who you interview and who you're friends with. Because even though if I don't agree with what MMA Guru said, I feel like people shouldn't call him out unless you are consistent yourself, because then you just be a hypocrite. And then another thing is, I seen Michael Bisping as well. He said, "Keep up the great work, Amy, and ignore the negative prick." He's calling MMA Guru a prick, and MMA Guru actually has a funny response. He says, "Remember, guys, Bisping would never make fun of someone else's appearance. That would be something a prick would do. Right, Bisping? One rule for the UFC Elite Club, another for me, right? Now rush along Dana's little boy. There's another Power Slap event for you to cover, you shill." And he's 100% right. Michael Bisping has made a whole entire career off of trash talking and making fun of people's appearance. So he should honestly understand Guru's just being, making a little joke, and he's not even going that hard at her. Honestly, that was one of the weakest fat jokes he's probably ever made. So I'm just shocked at the reaction of everybody on Twitter attacking MMA Guru, jumping on him, when in reality, he's a guy who makes these jokes all the time about men. But no one's ever stepped up for their men. So for men who's been joked at like that. So I just wanted to say that I actually agree with MMA Guru. You should be allowed to make whatever joke you want on the space. If Amy wants to respond, that's fair. But for everybody else, jumping in on him, look into your own closet and see what you've said in the past and who you hang out with, and see if you are actually consistent or you're just using it as an opportunity like Nina is here, where she goes off on MMA Guru when this has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with you at all. But you could have defended her without having to bring up your personal issues with Guru. So that just tells me that she's more upset with what MMA Guru has said about her and how she's an industry plant, which I believe she is, honestly. She's getting paid by the UFC. She's not that interesting. She doesn't provide anything, amusing. Honestly, all of her stuff is like little TikTok videos, and I guess it gets a lot of views. But at the end of the day, she's getting propped up by the UFC. And MMA Guru, on the other hand, has been just grinding and doing it himself. So I actually respect his hustle more than hers. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys think that MMA Guru is being attacked by a lot of people who are hypocritical? Or let me know if he went too far with his comments about Amy. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.